in a lot of ways, I still feel that the conversation around the Browns quarterback right now has gone down the route of, well, if it wasn't Dillon Gabriel and if you threw Shedeur Sanders on there, maybe it looks better. As if we, once again, haven't just watched Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel stink up the room and quarterback play be one of the biggest issues. And I say this as a Shedeur supporter, right? As somebody who's been on the band. I feel like I have to basically emphasize this every time I talk about Shedeur and tell you guys that putting him in might not be the best decision, period, because then I get labeled as a Shedeur hater. And I've been basically thrown to either side, and the Wolves have just come out, no matter which way you are. It's like you come out in defense of Shedeur, and then people are like, yeah, it's a fifth-round pick. And you come out and you say something that even borders the line of negative on Shedeur, and people are the exact opposite way. Well, you just don't want to see him succeed. I don't know what you see in Dillon Gabriel. Like, I'm a Shedeur supporter. I am. I want to see Shedeur take the field this year, but it feels like a lot of people right now are still convinced that putting Shedeur Sanders in truly changes what the offense looks like. Now, I think it looks different than it does with Dillon, and I've explained this. I think that you put Shedeur Sanders in the game, and there's a lot of things that you talk about the constant dump-offs, and you talk about the fact that the ball's not going 10 yards through the air almost on any pass attempt that Dillon makes. Sure, that's going to change with Shedeur. Like, I do think there's a different level, almost just a bleep you mentality of, I'm back there, and even the best thing is to take care of the football. The natural instinct of playing quarterback takes over. And if I see something open, I'm going to make the throw. I think Shedeur has that just innate ability to him to say, okay, yeah, you might tell me to protect the football, and I'm going to attempt to do that. It's not like I'm making a conscious effort to go against your wishes if you're Kevin Stefanski, but I'm also the guy playing the position, and at some point I'm reading the field, and if I see a guy open, I'm going to throw that guy. I'm just going to make that throw, even if it is wrong, even if it leads to an interception. I default back to second nature. So I think it looks different. I don't think it's a one-to-one and you get the exact same type of play, because in a lot of ways I feel like when you talk about Joe and you talk about Dillon, it's going to sound really negative, but they come out as more of yes men, right? As guys who, if they're told to protect the football, if they're told not to turn the ball over, they answer that call. Like Joe, we talk about as being a gunslinger. When he was playing this year, looked anything but a gunslinger. And I think a lot of that was the message pounded into his head to, hey, Joe, we can't have turnovers this year, right? We might not be the most explosive offense, but we can't have turnovers this year. We have to rely on the defense. Joe answers. In a lot of ways, Dillon being a rookie quarterback and being the quarterback that he is, I think has answered that call. And I don't think you get that with Shedeur, but there are other problems that come with playing Shedeur at quarterback, which are all the things that we've pointed pre-draft is the issues that lead Shedeur is a player of the game, which is he's going to hold on to the ball too long in moments. There's going to be times where he thinks he can escape the pocket and thinks he can use his legs where it just does not work. And ultimately, I think the end product, the end result, while it might be more entertaining, probably looks pretty similar to what it is right now. Not a ton of guys open, not a ton of explosive plays for the Browns, not a ton of things working. And it's not necessarily all on the quarterback to change those things. Like, sure, do you want to go and put an elite quarterback in here? Does the offense look better? Of course it does. Right? You give me Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, any guy that you want in the league right now that is considered an elite quarterback. Of course the offense is going to look different. Of course it's going to look better, but you don't have the elite quarterback available to you. At least I don't think you do right now. I don't think that anybody that touches the field this year for the Browns is going to be playing to the level of elite. So, but I do feel that everybody is still convinced, despite having watched this team, despite having seen them go through multiple quarterbacks and watching Joe go play in Cincinnati and look like the same quarterback he did in 2023, that changing out just the player at the position for a different style of player is actually going to change how this offense looks. I don't think you really solve any of your problems right now. I don't think that those are just solved by making a change at quarterback. I think you clearly have other issues. Of the guys you have available to you, there is not a one-stop fix in my mind for this offense at all. You have to find something further than that. You have to be able to create something with the guys you have in the room, or, hey, by Tuesday, get a little active and add some pieces to this team. I get it that everybody looks at you and you say you should be sellers if you're trying to get this team back on track within, we're talking about next year is really the timeline for Andrew Berry, that this team should at least be competitive and be fighting for a playoff spot by next season. then you're not going to do that by taking away some of your best players, unless it's, there's obviously guys on like 1-year deals. Yes, you can move off of somebody like Shelby Harris, but you're not going to get any better by moving off of somebody like Miles. You're not going to get any better by moving off of David Njoku or Wyatt Teller. I really don't think that improves this team to a level that people find that it does. If you're trying to be successful this year and build future success, you go out and you get some of the wide receivers that are available that you can sign to contracts or have already inked contracts. Obviously, we talk about guys like Garrett Wilson. I think, not to stay Ohio State, but Chris Olave is another name that pops into mind. Maybe the Saints don't really want to hold on to Olave. Does it not fit their timeline, but does it directly fit their timeline? There's a lot of different ways to improve this team that just doesn't ride on, hey, look at the quarterback and Shedeur fixes your problems. And it's a lot of the reason why, while I'm excited to see Shedeur play this year, my expectations already start out really low. And I'm not just clamoring for him to play this week. Do I think Dillon's done enough to be benched at this point? Yeah, probably. Like if you went to Shedeur, I wouldn't have been confused by it. I would have understood it. But it's not like he just goes in and solves all of your problems. The problems do feel deeper than that. They do feel like there's a lot more to focus on here than just the quarterback spot that actually makes this team in any way better. There is talent on this football team. It just so happens that 98% of it resides on the defense. Like, I don't even know that this is an argument against Stefanski. And you guys know I'm not beholden to Stefanski at this point. Like, I'm not going to come out here and pound the table and say Stefanski should have a job next year. I'm not going to encourage the fact that he should be fired, but if you fire him, I get it. If you keep him, well, I'm not going to say I agree with it, but I also get it, right? Like, you handed it over and you wanted to keep him. You don't necessarily think this is a Stefanski thing, like, through and through. I don't think it's all on Stefanski. I think a lot of this, like, you bring up, we've had the same problems with Baker. I don't think you really had the problems of extending the ball down the field with Baker outside of the offense is generally slated not to push the ball down the field as much. Like, yes, that is part of the Stefanski scheme a little bit, but it's not the entire thing. Like, we saw Baker extend the ball when it was necessary. We saw Baker dial up shots, and plenty of them while he was here. I think a lot of the things that went wrong, while Baker was the quarterback in the offense, had nothing to do with throwing the ball down the field enough. It had a problem to do with being accurate when you were throwing the ball down the field, which Baker obviously was up and down in terms of he looks really good at times, and then he looked not so great at times. But I don't think that's inherently like built into the offense that you can't dial up those shots. Like, we saw Joe run the same offense and dial up the shots.
Remember a couple years ago, they played the Titans, and it was a play-action pass, deep throw to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Do we remember that game? We've seen this offense have some explosive moments, even at times where we've wondered why are we running the ball or doing other things. So I think Stefanski is very handcuffed with the talent, and I think he understands that I don't have a line that can withstand for 4 seconds to really give my guys time to go run a route. I don't have this kind of talent to be able to run these sophisticated route trees to create some more opportunities for my receivers. I don't have veteran wide receivers who've been in the league for 2-3 seasons to understand that, oh, the last time I played this guy, I remember he kept leaning to the left so I could do this one thing. So I think with all those different factors factoring in that are negatives, it gets very hard to scheme up an offense for just players who, A, may not be ready to play today or just aren't good enough.
Yeah, and I think you also look at like the concepts they're running. Just because Dillon finds a way to dump the ball off every single time, right? Like, and I'm not saying he does it every time, but we all know it's a lot. Like, it's a lot of dump offs, it's a lot of short routes.
You're fair enough to say that because his average distance of target is under like 6 yards.
Yeah, it's bad. But like, he continues to find the dump off. He continues to take the short crossing route. It's not like the Browns are running 3 screens and 2 crosses, and it's like, here, Dillon, take your pick. Like, they're running levels concepts with guys 25 yards down the field, 15 yards down the field, and then, yes, your short crosser. Almost every play that you run in the NFL is going to have a guy on a short route or a check down available to you. It's the fact that Dillon keeps taking them. And I think it's a combination of errors. Is it partially the message in Dillon's head? Probably, because I saw it with Joe. Is it partially Dillon not being able to read the field well enough? Probably part of that. Is it the offensive line where you can't take those deep shots? The run game not being strong enough to the point where I can play off of play action so much. And teams are just thinking, well, got to stop Quinshon here because he's torn us up all game long. Now the deep shot's a little bit more open and the team's more susceptible to that. There's a million different things that factor into it that I'm sure some lies on Kevin and some lies on Dillon.
never underestimate the fact that he was on the sideline those first 3-4 games. He saw what that offensive line, he saw those wide receivers, he saw the tight ends. He knows what this offense looks like. So even before you even have to step on the field, you have your own preconceived notions on, well, when I get out there, I have to be able to do X, Y, Z because I know I don't have that time for what I was watching. So even beyond all the other stuff, he probably is trying to figure out, how do I just not let it be a disaster when I get out there so I don't lose my job?
Yeah, I mean, part of it's holding on to your job, and I think part of Dillon holding on to his job, especially when we talk about over the next couple of weeks, is going to be finding that next level of stuff, is going to be extending the ball down the field and finding a way for it to be successful. But the offense is a plethora of problems. Like, that's my case here. It's not really a case fully against Stefanski. I'm not saying it's not Kevin, but it's not entirely Kevin. There's also a severe talent problem on the offense. Like, you have to find a way to make that difference, too. Again, 216-474-0092. Let's go back out to the phones. Greg is in Akron. What's going on, Greg?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Nothing much, man. Happy Halloween to you.
Thanks, you too.
Appreciate it. What do you got?
So these are two of the main problems with the Browns right now. For one, they lead the league in drops. That's not a good thing. And here's another thing. I've never liked Stefanski. His sets, he's been running these double tight end sets, if not triple, ever since my grandma's grandma was alive. Everyone knows it's coming. And not only that, you complain about not getting it down the field, right? Well, you put a 250-pound man on the field instead of a 200-pound man. Do they move side to side better? Do they run faster? Are they more agile? Do they have better acceleration, or do they have worse acceleration? The sets are just, he's a 1970s coach. He's not a current coach.
Well, this is the crazy thing, too, Greg, and I appreciate the call, is like, part of what we're seeing out of Kevin is basically the exact opposite of what he was here. Like, I know that people will call this offense boring. It's become stale, and it has at this point. But when Kevin got here, it was an innovative, an aggressive play caller. Like, we've taken a massive step back from where Kevin was when he came here in the problems we had with him to where it is now. And I think a lot of us forget the early Kevin, and it was like, well, he's being so aggressive. And I'm not saying he was just, tossing the ball down the field every single time, but he would go for it on fourth. He would take a couple of shot plays, and it's like, you don't always need that. And Kevin felt like there was a lot of innovation there. Like, I think back to, we're talking, OBJ being open from a pass from Jarvis Landry against the Jets on Thursday Night Football. It's like, okay, like, that's innovative. There was gimmicky plays that happened to work, but Kevin got innovative like that. And I think you saw him try to be, in ways where he probably shouldn't have been innovative, but try to be innovative against the Patriots. We talked about trying to set up a double pass. We talked about a flea flicker play where Quinshawn flipped it back to Dillon Gabriel. It's like, I don't know that that's working right now in this offense and this offensive line. But like, you see him try to be innovative. You see him try to go to different things. I don't necessarily think it's just inherently boring either. Again, a lot of it draws back to a talent problem for me. Like, it really does. I just don't think you have a lot here, which is why I look at this trade deadline and I tell you, go get something, because, and I'll throw out to you guys at 216-474-0092, because I'm going to tell you that the Browns need a playmaker. But would a better quarterback or a top-tier playmaker, a wide receiver one, help the Browns offense more right now? And I think it's a no-doubt question. Like, to me, it is the playmaker. You go get a wide receiver one. I'm not saying it fixes this offense, but it surely helps.